All right. Haha, hello. You don't really think about what goes into, making YouTube videos, especially when you're new at this kind of thing, because you don't, the cameras you use. I have this MacBook here, and it's definitely not. The camera's not great on it, and the microphone isn't great either. But I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. I'm not like an audio visual guy, so I've got a different webcam kind of mounted on a mic stand in front of me, and I've got the laptop here in the background. Now, isn't that's the magic of cinema right there? Anyways, and I'm literally just recording on QuickTime Player. I haven't even busted out like OBS Studio or anything like that. I'm gonna do my best not to keep looking down here, but I was cleaning up my apartment. As you can tell, it's pretty freaking messy back there. Um, and I was watching some videos about AI and AGI because, as a person who has literally zero expertise in any of this stuff, I love to, you know, listen to a lot of it and think I know what I'm talking about. But I don't think it just because you're not an expert, just because you don't have a degree in something, don't discount yourself. I mean, you if you can think critically, you're allowed to have your opinion. Keep in mind you can always be wrong. Like that's probably the case most of the time. But you're allowed to have your opinion, and anybody who disregards somebody just because of their education level or degree status, they're viewing the world through their own lens, and that lens is there to preserve their ego. I put 8 years into becoming a doctor. Who are you to, even suggest that I might be wrong? Of course, you got intelligent people in those fields too who actually, can understand that medicine is practicing. We are humans, so we'll never truly get like the full understanding of anything, if that makes sense. Like in physics, you can be the absolute expert, but I mean, we don't know the absolute true answer. We don't know where we came from. We don't know why we're here. You know what I mean? Religion even can only get so far and close to the point. And I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm kind of rambling, but I was watching these videos about AI, and I noticed you have some people that really disregard it. And I understand that. I mean, especially if you're somebody whose career could very easily be automated and replaced by AI, I could see people being like, "Bah, that's not going to happen. These are just, cheap chatbots that are stealing information online." And like, I totally understand that. I can relate to that. I mean, when I dick around with ChatGPT and certain little AI programs mess around with that come out. A lot of them are very buggy. A lot of them are pretty simple and basic. But at the same time, it's pretty mind blowing. And even just a few years ago, like I remember 10 years ago, still going to like ask.com, and you pretty much just had to rely on the answers that people gave you unless you were able to do like an exhaustive web search yourself. And even to have something now to where you can have a dialogue with it back and forth and ask a question and then have them clarify and ask further follow-up questions to a literal machine and have it understand you, and it understands context because it's very, and I'm not even articulating this well enough to be making a YouTube video talking about it, but it truthfully is kind of mind-blowing, especially when you are in a field that could very potentially be changed by it. And so, like AI, for example, is very likely to dramatically shift the job markets and like our economy and the way the world works. Because basically, what's going to happen is you're going to get an increase in productivity from AI to the point where these large corporations that are in control with their constant growth mindset are going to be looking to ways to cut corners, increase productivity. It's not going to make sense to keep people involved. And AI is very quickly going to be able to do any sort of decision tree based role. You know what I mean? For example, I'm in software sales. I work at MailChimp. So people call me and they ask questions about MailChimp. Do you think they can't just wire an LLM like a GPT up to that, input the voice as it's coming in, turn that text into speech, and you know what I mean, like input that out. Do you think sales is not going to be something that can easily be automated? Phone sales particularly, telehealth, nursing, data analysts, accountants, doctors, you know what I mean? We're going to get to a point, and people can't see it now, where you can literally just upload a video or have a video chat. The AI is going to be it's going to look like you're talking to a person indistinguishable from reality. It's going to feel like you're talking to a person. Meanwhile, it's taking your information in and accessing the vastest database of knowledge considerable, you know what I mean? All knowledge in history, essentially, as opposed to like what this one nurse from like Ohio thinks after 4 years of nursing school, which is basically just like activism indoctrination camp. You know what I mean? So it's like you're going to be looking at companies who are going to be like, absolutely, why would we keep these people on board when we can just replace them? Because we're going to make so much more money. Profit margins are going to be huge. So all this being said, there's a lot of conversations obviously about universal basic income, universal high income, which is just like, really, do you think that's what we're going to end up with? At the biggest hope and dream is what we could end up with is a universal basic income that actually provides like a decent means of living for people en masse, because that's not going to happen. Look at this shit where it's going to be a weird thing for some folks, but when you really look at the world, we still kind of exist in a feudal system. We have a ruling class. And like when these people come into power, and I mean, large corporations, governments, royal families over periods of time, they don't just allow society to upheave itself and overthrow their power. Trust me, they can fund and gather the most intelligent of all of us and manipulate them to work for them in a way to provide them with enough information to where they know enough about society and like mass behavior of people to be able to keep us in check while we think we have the illusion of freedom. It's like this democracy thing. Do you really think that the ruling class in America is going to allow everything to be just flopped back and forth or put up at risk by vote every 4 years? Like, come on. Like, that's what it seems like, because it's the show. The show is that the people in charge have our best interest. But in reality, we're numbers, we're profit margins. And when they shave off a little profit margin, that directly equates to people's lives. Like whether or not they're able to survive living or afford living or even eat. Because in our first world countries, we're impacted by things like inflation, we're impacted by things like job loss, but in countries that are barely clinging on to survive, whenever there's any sort of mass shortage, their people die. You know what I mean? People die. So, after all that rambling, point of what I'm trying to say here is that don't expect benevolence from the ruling class when it comes to figuring out what we're going to do with AI. Second of which, it's like, come on, do you think the AI that we're seeing right now is cutting edge, latest tech? Sure, it might be from some of these like third-party individual companies that are clumped together, but the big organizations that actually have the computing power and software and people working for them to move forward in this type of a situation, those people, that stuff's already been like, the stuff they have behind closed doors is way more advanced than what's actually being shown to the public right now. Like, what corporation, what entity that's interested in self-preservation is going to like show every single card in their hand to the public? I mean, that's just simple poker rules, you know what I mean? You're not going to show your hand to the other players in the game. So trust me, these conversations by the people who have the power and access to this technology and are going to be at the forefront of the growth of this technology, like OpenAI, Microsoft, they've been having this conversation for a long time. In fact, 100 years, believe it or not. these people are smart. They know where things are going to go, and they've plotted out the advancement of society. I know I sound like a nut, but I mean, come on, man. Like, that's just how shit is. Like, let's be real here. So these conversations have already been had. Bill Gates and, people that you don't even know about who are vastly more powerful than Bill Gates have been talking behind closed doors. What are we going to do when we don't need people anymore? Look at it. Right now, we're going to see, or in the near future, we'll see an absolute replacement of a lot of white collar jobs. But as soon as robotics catches up, which check out some of the stuff like Boston Dynamics is putting out right now, all you do is slap a GPT in one of those and it's crazy stuff. So as soon as that catches up, then all of a sudden a lot more jobs are gone too. Surgeons already use surgeons that are going into your brain are not going in there with their bare hands. They're using robotic assisted technology. So like as soon as you get like something that can just man that machine by itself, surgeons are replaceable. It's going to become illegal to practice medicine like that because the surgeon's death rate is going to be so much higher than the machine. Trust me, we're going to be useless. Like, it's not going to be how can we, benefit the whole of society. It's how do we get rid of the worthless eaters, And trust me, you might think you're not a worthless eater. I'm a hoity-toity lawyer. I work as a brain surgeon. I'm blah, blah, blah. You're replaceable, buck-a-roo. Like, it's how it is. It's going to be that way. That's just think, you know what I mean? Don't let your ego be the death of you. So, anytime there's any sort of experimental medication that gets pushed on the public, I would highly recommend not taking that. Come on. So anyways, long story short, too long didn't read. I would just say that don't expect the ruling class to have your best interest at heart, especially when it comes to the next 10 years. They want depopulation. Like, there's not gonna be a need for people. Like, the infrastructure of the world's been built up to this point. In order to accommodate the type of intelligence and growth to get to this robotics, society needed to grow to a certain point. It wasn't gonna happen in an isolated pocket. So capitalism as the vehicle for the growth of society to get us to the point where we're at right now, where we have the technology to do this. And this has been planned for a long time. But once you get to that point, society as a whole becomes incredibly useless. So yeah, to get here, we've been valuable, but the locus of production, the means of production, the locus of control is no longer going to be in the hands of the workers when there's robots. You know what I mean? So I just say think about it that way. I just made this video because I know a lot of people who really downplay like the impact automation, just simply automation is going to have on the economy and the world in general. And I'd say, cool, yeah. Wouldn't that be great? Like, cool. Like, yeah, it's just going to be another weird thing. It's just going to be another, outdated technology that gets left in the past. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. Come on. Like, are you sticking your head in the sand a little bit? Don't want to have your head in the clouds. You don't want to be too fantastical about it. But you also don't want to deny potential reality here and leave yourself unprepared for when it comes along. Granted, I don't think we're going to have a lot that we're going to be able to do in a mass cull type of situation. Skynet's going to be pretty freaking hard to beat. I don't know that I'm going to be able to beat Skynet. Like, I'm not going to be able to buy land and prep myself. Like, come on, man. The best I can hope to do is grow enough spiritually to where when time comes for me to die, I can remain present and see what's happening on the other side. You know what I mean? Without my ego getting in the way. So hopefully that made like any sense at all. I enjoyed making this video. I can obviously yap forever. So if you guys are here at the end, wow. I like, share, subscribe if you want to. That really helps me. I don't obviously get many views. I've got 27 subscribers. I've deleted all my old videos because just my splouting of endless platitudes and yada, yada, yada. But it's where I'm at now. Feel good. Hopefully you guys are doing good. And I'll have a talk with you soon. Bye.